Now, we all know that asking for a pay rise tends to be a bit awkward. Depends who you are, though, doesn't it? But this applies to no group more so than MPs. So in the midst of yet another lockdown party scandal, Boris Johnson has announced that plans to raise ministers' wages by 2.6% in April are set to go forward as normal. So this would leave, obviously, MPs with a total pay packet of 82 grand a year. Well above the median wage for British workers. But do they really deserve it? And that's what we want to do today. So we decided, didn't we? Let's head-to-head it.
Yes.
Right? Let's find people who've got two different views and make them have it out, hammer and tongue. So for this, we're asking whether or not MPs should be given a pay rise. On one side, we've got the one and only of this parish as well, Darren Grimes. There we go, political commentator and soon-to-be presenter on GBNews, and Gawain Towler, a political consultant to the Reform Party. Both of you know the drill, hopefully anyway. You get 60 seconds each, right? And then we'll just have it out in a wider debate. Darren, I'll start with you. Should MPs get a pay rise?
Absolutely not, right? Let's sort of paint an economic picture. I heard audible gasps from members of my family as they opened their energy estimates recently, and they're absolutely not alone in that, right? I dare say come April this year, with energy bills set to double, there'll be a collective gasp across the nation, right? Letting out more hot air than Boris Johnson over these number 10 parties and all of this net zero nonsense. I think we hear this line repeatedly, right? That it starts to look like one rule for them and quite another for the struggling masses at the bottom. They say we're all in it together, but evidently not if this is to go ahead at the same time as rocketing bills and a national insurance tax hike. I mean, Patrick, I am no clairvoyant, right? I'm not Mystic Meg, but I reckon I can safely predict with more accuracy than a sage COVID model that this will go down like a bag of sick with voters that are experiencing
all right, that's your 60 seconds. That's your 60 seconds. There you go. Just about got it all in. We'll go back to it, Darren. Don't worry. Gawain, over to you now. Gawain Towler, political consultant to the Reform Party. 60 seconds starts now. Should they get paid rise?
All right. That's all very well. And politically, it's an absolute nightmare. However, it's worth noting that the salaries for MPs have dropped year on year compared to the average since they were first brought in 1910. In 1910, the average salary for an MP salary was 400 quid a year. The average salary was 70. That was 5 times the average salary. Now it's about 3 times. The problem is it's hardly performance related. If you want politicians to be good and effective, then you have to pay them properly. And I'm sorry to say, whilst we like to damn them, we like to...
All right, that is it. Thank you. Great. Time is up. Time is up. Okay, quick fire questions and quick fire answers. Darren, thank you for your contribution. I mean, some of the counter arguments that Gawain put forward, I mean, we've had this Owen Paterson scandal, we have all of these different scandals, and some people argue that's because MPs aren't really paid enough. And as we know, as CEOs and in other big industries, to get the best people, you've got to actually pay them well, or they'll be snapped up by other industries. And therefore, the same should be the case to getting the best MPs. What do you say to that?
Well, and I say to that, what on earth are people smoking, right? If I was to go up to my local high street right now and do a quick poll and ask people surrounded by shuttered shops and high streets experiencing significant economic disparities compared to London and the southeast, for example, I reckon they'd ask me if I'd lost me marbles, frankly, if I was asking them the question of, should MPs receive more dosh than the 80 grand we so generously give them through taxpayer contributions right now? I'd be laughed off the high street, and I think rightly so, because ultimately, right, as it works in the private sector, I think Gawain's right, MPs should be linked to the performance that they put in, and frankly, right now, I'm not sure they are putting in a good performance.
It's a good point.
Strong point. And Gawain, I mean, if you ask any person that's working, should I get a pay rise? Every single person is going to say yes, and actually MPs are in the unique position to be able to actually give themselves a pay rise, and that's not really fair for the public.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, if you ask anyone, it's true. If you ask anyone, they'll say they'll have a pay rise.
They get an average pay rise that is averaged across the public sector. Now, there's a question: should it be averaged across the public sector? to say that they give themselves a pay rise is no longer true. That's been taken out of their hands.
Well, at the end of the day, you know, the public, if you ask them, for example, they've stopped some of the higher threshold of the pay rise that some NHS staff were asking for. Many people have been working very hard during the pandemic, delivery drivers, Uber drivers, and they can't, unilaterally get a pay rise. So I think actually it's a bit unfair at this time of the pandemic, don't you think?
Would you say that the whole public sector should not have a pay rise?
I would definitely say that people that have been at the front line of the pandemic right now should get a pay rise. But many people have actually been, sitting at home, working from home, and it's actually been quite a relatively calmer time for them than it has for other people.
Saving money, some people.
Yeah.
So pay should be related to presenteeism. And the problem is, if you do want politicians, you want people to put themselves forward, to get all the slings and arrows and get all the rubbish that's chucked at them, you've got to commensurately pay them. If you want to go back to some 19th century system where only the personally wealthy can stand for Parliament, so be it. But I don't think that's democratic. I don't think that would be good for the country.
You look at the deputy leader of the Labour Party, Angela Rayner. She worked in the care sector. Actually, the MP salary that she's getting is 3, 4, perhaps even 5 times the amount that she would have had before she was working as an MP. So actually, for the majority of MPs, that is way above what they would have ordinarily been earning.
In some cases, yes. But again, who do we want? Do we want people who can command decent salaries because they are capable, because they are competent? Do we want to do that? I think it's important to note, as I say, that the average salary of an MP compared to the average national salary has been dropping ever since it started over 100 years ago. Now, I would say the quality of MP has dropped to the similar level.
Well, that's
if we want better people, then maybe we don't stop paying them like monkeys.
All right, Gawain, that's it. We're going to throw over now. Darren gets the final word in. Surely, Darren, people going in to be an MP, they should just do it for the love of it, shouldn't they? There's no financial incentive there.
Do you get paid, Patrick?
Absolutely. I agree with my friends at the Taxpayers Alliance, actually, right, that MPs ought to be paid in line with the country's economic performance. And right now, we are not performing very well. We are actually putting a millstone around the next generation's neck, right? We keep being told on financial matters that those with the broadest shoulders should carry the burden. Well, I'm sorry, but 80 grand is a pretty canny salary to most of us up here and in other areas like it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll sort of... Look, guys, I could talk to you about this all day, and indeed I would love to. But obviously, Gawain, thank you very, very much. Gawain Towler there is also, of course, political consultant to the Reform Party. And Darren Grimes, you'll know exactly who that chap is. And make sure you watch this space, because Darren Grimes is coming to this parish very, very soon, and we're lucky to have him. So anyway, what's coming up?
Yes, after the break, we'll be...